invited to raise a glass and join us
for another Highway exclusive album premiere party, celebrating the release of Toby Keith's new album, Drinks After Work.
live from the Siriusxm Music City Theater. Toby Keith, host Buzz Brainerd, and you.
Exclusively on the Highway.
It's the Highway on SiriusXM. My name's Buzz Brainerd in our SiriusXM Music City Theater. We got a little party going on this afternoon. It's our, Okay, it's not after work yet here in our SiriusXM Music City Theater, but that's okay. We can start drinking right now because it's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. Ladies and gentlemen, the big dog daddy, Toby Keith. There we go. That's a curtsy. For those of you who can't see us because we're on radio, that was a curtsy by Mr. Keith. Welcome.
Thank you, Buzz, right here.
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. We're starting on. I got you something here. You see
Are you
that?
drinking yet?
Yeah, we're drinking. This is a red Solo cup.
All right.
I got one, too.
You do?
There's something in there, by the way. You want to do shots to start
You
this?
know what? It's on radio, but they still know what a red Solo cup looks like. They're visualizing it
Absolutely.
right now.
This is Drinks at Work.
But guess what? Mine's bigger than yours. I can see the shadow.
Yeah, I put a little
You're
bit more in
cheating.
yours. Okay, ready?
No, I just mean mine's bigger than yours. That's all I mean.
All right. That's good. And with that one, I want to start off with a question right away from one of our audience members. Andrea's sitting right here in the front row. Hey, Andrea, how are you?
I'm good. Hi,
Welcome.
Toby.
Ah.
I just want to know, what is your favorite drink to drink after work?
Well, believe it or not, I have this mezcal, which is a cousin to tequila. It's called Wild Shot. And it's what everybody's always said, that you go to Mexico and get the tequila with a worm in it. Well, mine is the mezcal. It's actually, instead of the blue agave that they extract the juice out of and make tequila with, it's the green agave, and they smoke it like you'd smoke a ham and then cure it and then extract the juice, and it gives it a smoky flavor. So, and it's delish.
Did you get any tips from your buddies like Sammy Hagar about making all that stuff? And
Yeah, well, he does tequila.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when people do tequila, they always do the lime and the salt.
Yeah.
Well, this is this doesn't. It's so smooth it doesn't need lime and salt. It's just it's just kind of, you sit around and sip it, and it's kind of got that barrel taste.
Yeah.
So if it was dark liquor like we're having today, you would think it was a Scotch or something, but it's clear and it's really smooth and good, and it's a different buzz.
Yeah. You can get that in any I Love This Bar and Grill across the country.
It's a different buzz, Buzz.
It's a different buzz. When are you going to put one of those restaurants here in Nashville, Tennessee?
Well, they've talked about it several times, but the first 20 we put in filled a void.
Yeah.
And people go, why don't you put one in Nashville? I go, because you can get a chicken fried steak on every corner.
Right.
You can get live music on every corner. So it ain't the same way in Minneapolis and Boston, Chicago and Denver, and you know what I mean? It's like we fill a void with our food. So for the first 20 or 25, we're just trying to fill a void and make sure we do good business decisions. But I'm sure one will eventually end up here.
And with you owning a record label, it's a good way to have your artists have a place to go when they're in town. If they're in one of those towns, it's like, I got a place you can play.
Yeah, or when we start a radio, like my daughter,
Yeah.
she's gone out and done a lot of dates out at our bars and grills, from Vegas to Chicago to Denver, Boston, wherever. And it gives you a good place to, you could do the I Love This Bar and Grill tour and hit most of the major cities.
And by the way, the shots we were just doing, that comes from Crystal. She brought that bottle by a couple of weeks ago.
She did?
Yeah. You raised her right.
That little huzzy.
It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. The album comes out on Tuesday. We're going to play a couple cuts for you guys today, and you get to sit and listen with us. We'll probably have a couple more shots, and we'll take some more questions from the audience. And the first cut off the album kind of gives you a feel a little bit of what the Hammer Down tour is like, right? Shut up and hold on.
Get in, sit down, shut up, and hold on. Me and Bobby and Rivers, the three guys that I write with the most are Scott Emmerich, Bobby Pinson, and Rivers Rutherford. And one of those three are usually out with me. And then when I'm by myself, obviously I write by myself. But if On this particular occasion, Bobby and Rivers had jumped on this thing, and they said, we want you to do this, and we want to figure out how we can make it you, but we've got an idea for a song. You know, sometimes those things kind of feel fabricated.
Yeah.
You know, like you just prefab. It's like, you know, I'm trying to sell state houses here, and you're bringing me a mobile home. Come on. But at the same time, it bloomed in the studio so good that when you hear this track, you're going to hear how much production went in. And it was one of those that you could, you know, you feel like you've written all your life. Mm-hmm. But it sounds different in the studio. And I flipped out after you're going to hear how much production goes in and understand what I'm talking about. But you've heard me do this kind of song over the last 20 years 10 times. You know, all the way back to a little less talk.
Yeah.
And a lot more action, but this is going to sound different because it's got that 2013 production on it.
Well, let's listen to it now. Drinks After Work is available on Tuesday. This is cut number 1. It's Shut Up and Hold On. Toby Keith on the highway.
Gonna roll with me, gotta roll quickly. Get in, sit down, shut up and hold on. Can't wait too late, it's time to get gone. Show up downtown, get us a buzz on. Get in, sit down, shut up and hold on. Shoot a little bull, shoot a little 8-ball, ain't going on. Make a little phone call, feeling pretty good. Stumble out the front door, she pulls up and her farm girl chords singing. Get in, sit down, shut up and hold on. Can't wait too late, it's time to get gone. Find us a dirty road and get a groove on. Get in, sit down, shut up and hold on. Too late, it's time to get gone. Find us a dirty road and get a groove on. Get in, sit down, shut up and hold on. Get in, sit down, shut up, hold on.
Toby Keith on the highway on Siriusxm. It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. Thank you guys for being here. Drinks After Work is in stores on Tuesday. Let's take another question from our audience right now. Cindy from Nashville.
Yes, I was wondering how the rebuilding is doing and how the folks are doing.
The building happens really quick. We get hit so much. You're talking about the tornado.
Right.
Yeah. Every spring, central Oklahoma gets pounded with tornadoes. And it's never changed. And down through the plains, Kansas, Texas, North Texas, and up through the plains, they get hit quite a bit. So they call that Tornadoes Alley from Wichita Falls up to Joplin, Missouri, if you just follow those turnpikes. And they get banged pretty hard, but it doesn't take them long for the National Guard to back up. Telephone poles go back in the ground. People are resilient. So if you didn't lose limb or life, somebody that you love, the rest of that crap you don't need anyway. You need a new couch, right? So if you get your photos and your jewelry and your daddy's shotgun, you can get another microwave, can't you?
Yeah.
So they just go back up pretty quick, and they're pretty resilient. I do want to thank Garth and Tricia and Ronnie Dunn and Sammy Hagar and Willie Nelson and John Anderson and Mel Tillis and those guys for coming in and donating their time, because we were able to raise $2 million for Central Oklahoma.
Yeah, that was a big deal. And then Carrie Underwood at the last minute from the Grand Ole Opry was beamed her in.
Carrie's from Oklahoma, and she mailed it in from the Grand Ole Opry via satellite. So participated, and it was the largest crowd to ever see a concert in the state of Oklahoma.
How's your sister doing?
She's doing great. It didn't blow all her crap away.
Yeah.
So she got to keep all her photo albums and everything, and she was just like, hey, it took me 10 minutes to get what I wanted out of there, and they can have the rest. And then the insurance company comes in, they know it's a system, and you're going to get hit, but it's home, and you can move to the coast and have an earthquake or a hurricane, or you can live in the plains and have a tornado, and it's just going to happen.
It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party, and the album is dedicated to somebody pretty special to you, and this was tough this year, huh?
Yeah, the guy who was the last living member, we pulled a van and a trailer down the road for years as kids playing beer joints, and one by one that took its toll on people that were, boys are the last ones to grow up. Girls seem to grow up quicker than boys. But boys playing guitars, somewhere around 24, 25 years old, they decide that there's probably no future in it. Well, I wasn't going to give in to that. I kept fighting for my dream. And one by one, my members went away. And Chuck Goff was the bass player that was with me for the bar days. He was with me when I got signed, and he was with me. So he was 25 years, stood to my left. He was tragically killed in a car wreck in the spring. And so for the first time in my professional life, I went on stage without having him standing to the left of me being my band leader. It was really kind of a weird situation, and I didn't think it would bother me until it actually happened. And he wasn't there. It was really strange. So I wrote a song, and I didn't want to put it on the album, but they made a deluxe album. A deluxe edition's got 3 or 4 extra copies of stuff that don't normally make the album. Mm-hmm. And I put it on there as a tribute to Chucky, but it's called Chucky's Gone. And it kind of tells the story about what happened this spring, how it unfolded. It's just kind of a little mini bio.
Drinks After Work comes out on Tuesday, and there's 10 cuts on it, and like Toby said, if you pick up the deluxe edition like at Walmart, it's got a few extra cuts, and this is the tribute to Chucky. It's called
I'd say Walmart's got one.
Yeah. It's Chucky's Gone on the highway on Siriusxm.
Twister came through our hometown and tore a lot of people's houses down. It always happens in the spring, but this time you missed everything. Put the band back on the road, and we still got a lot of wild seeds to sow. And LB prayed and Micah cried. It was the first time without you by my side. Stage goes up, stage goes down, buses roll through another town. Words to write and gigs to play, and you'll always be a song away. Your bass is there where you used to stand, and even though we got a killer band, I still look up in the middle of a song and realize Chucky's gone. Chucky's gone. Never got to say goodbye and thank you for the times I cried and laughed. You were quicker than the rest, fastest gunslinger in the West. I hope you find peace from your pain, Must have been like a hurricane. So fly away with all our love. Sure wish you didn't need that stuff. Stage goes up, stage goes down. The buses roll through another town. It's worse to ride and gigs to play, and you'll always be a song away. Your bass is there where you used to stand. And even though we got a killer band, still look up in the middle of a song and realize Chucky's gone. Chucky's gone.
It's the Highway on Siriusxm. We're in our Siriusxm Music City Theater. My name's Buzz Brainerd. It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. Toby's joined us, and we got some questions from the audience. Owen is here from Brentwood, Tennessee.
I know why you put that song on second.
Why?
Because it was a buzzkill.
Where'd that bottle go, by the way? I need some more of that. Where's that stuff? I got to catch up. Hey, Owen, how are you, buddy?
Good.
I love Owen's hat. Is it Owen?
Yes.
Is that your name? I love that hat.
Thanks.
Are you a Marine veteran?
No. But
Do you know a Marine veteran?
yes.
Who?
My grandpa.
Your grandpa?
Yes.
That's awesome, son. Are you a Yankees fan?
Yeah.
You got it on your phone. I can see it. He's got an otter, what do they call it, otter box, otter cover?
Yeah, with the Yankee
Otter
logo.
pop. He's got him a Yankees. Go ahead and ask your question, son. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering, like, what was your favorite song on the new album?
You know what? We're going to play it here in a minute. It's kind of a throwback song. People don't write these kind of songs very much anymore, but it's called The Last Living Cowboy in This Town, and I'll dedicate it to you when we get there. Are we going to do it next? You want to do it next?
We can do that next. You want
Can
to
we do it next?
coming up next there?
Let's do it for Owen since we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
DJ, can you get that queued up for me?
We got the mirror ball and everything going. We got a DJ in here. This is nice.
So it's called The Last Living Cowboy in This Town, and people don't write these old kind of country songs anymore. It's kind of got poppy, but it's my favorite thing that I wrote on this album.
Yeah, you said that you wish this was one of the songs that would get airplay on the radio, that probably in mainstream terrestrial radio, we take a little more chances on SiriusXM, but you're right.
You guys will probably play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys will probably give it a spin. But it's this is the stuff I grew up listening to when I was working the Oklahoma, Texas circuit as a bar band, listening to Guy Clark and Red Steagall and Joe Ely and Gary P. Nunn, and it kind of reminds me of that old cowboy poetry stuff. But
well, Owen, that was a great question. It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party.
Great question, Owen.
Awesome, Owen.
Freaking awesome, dude.
And you know what? Drinks After Work comes out on Tuesday, and we're going to play Toby's favorite cut off the album right now.
I give you a drink, Owen, but you're not old enough.
I already told him he had to watch his language.
Buttermilk.
You should see before he got here. He was cussing up a storm.
Hey, you should have seen me before I got here.
From Drinks After Work, which is available on Tuesday, here's Last Living Cowboy on the Highway on SiriusXM.
On the second day of June, in case nobody's counting, some that's many a moan. You'll find him down on Main Street, that's where he likes to walk. It's worth the price of admission just to hear that old man talk. He's the last living cowboy in this town. He ain't rode off into the sunset yet, no, he's still kicking around. You'll find him halfway liquored up on Caddo County shine, or all the way drunk half the time. He's got 40 head of cattle down on Turkey Creek. There's always some old stray dog round the cabin at his feet. His family left for California back in 29 when it was 2 bits for the whiskey and tobacco was a dime. He's the last living cowboy in this town. He rode off into the sunset yet he's still kicking around. You'll find him halfway liquored up on Caddo County shine, or all the way drunk half the time. Pocket and a pistol in his boot. I've heard a lot of stories, but I've never seen him shoot. A 60 model pickup's all I've ever seen him drive. He ain't rode a horse since the day old Bullet died. He's the last living cowboy in this town. He ain't rode off into the sunset yet. He's still kicking round. You'll find him halfway liquored up on Caddo County shine, or all the way drunk half the time. Yeah, you'll find him halfway liquored up on Caddo County shine, or all the way drunk half the time.
It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. The album comes out on Tuesday. My name's Buzz. We're in our Siriusxm Music City Theater with Toby. I bet you people didn't know this, or some of you probably do because we have some diehard fans here, but Toby does a little painting, don't you? Yeah, you do.
No.
You paint.
No.
Yes, you do.
You're not supposed to tell anybody I paint.
You paint.
Golly, they're going to think I'm...
No. They're going to find a whole new respect for another side of Toby. The softer side of Toby Keith.
All right, I'm an oil painter. I paint pictures. I paint landscapes and stuff.
Just landscape? Do you do people or anything like that?
No, I don't do people.
Okay.
But I just do I just do landscapes. I just sit. It takes me about 4 hours to do one.
Okay.
And I just do a sky and figure out where my water's going to be, and I just start coming this way till I'm done. And
you ever going to do a show in a gallery or something like that? I'm thinking sell some of those off for charity down the road?
Well, I don't do that many. There's been people that want them, and I've only done 10 in my whole life, but I could always draw with a pencil. Yeah. And I was always creative with that. And I found that you can, with oil painting, with oil, you can't do it. I mean, if you stick like watercolor, you stick it on there, it's just stuck. You know what I mean? It's like you got to start over if you screw up. With oil paintings, you can kind of move stuff around, and you can kind of cover up stuff, and I find that I can kind of roll. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I've only done 10 in my life, and 3 or 4 of them are suitable for burning. No, they are. I gave my mom one for Christmas, and then I've had other people say that you need to do it. But I'm just always artistic enough that I can do it. But you know, if it sucks, I won't show anybody. If it's really good, then I'll frame it. You know what? When you frame them, they look better. Yeah. If you put a good frame on it. You see one, you go, that's pretty good painting. I might frame that, and you frame it, you're like, oh, that's a really good painting. Yeah. I got an idea. Drinks After Work is Toby's 17th album. Right? So I'm wondering if you took the frame off of Mona Lisa, if it would be a shitty painting. Nah, it'd be crap. Piece of crap. Here's the deal. So Drinks After Work is your 17th album, which is available Tuesday. For the next album, we don't even tell anybody, but you paint the album cover. And you just don't even tell people. How about I take one of my best paintings, and we just litho. Okay. You know what I mean? And say, like, I'll take 10 of these and number them and sign them. You know how the big guys do it, the real artists? Yeah. They just make copies, right? And they call lithos. We're learning things about Toby Keith today here on the highway on Siriusxm, aren't we? We got another question from our audience. Hey, Laura.
Hello.
Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Hello.
Where are you from?
Smiths Grove, Kentucky.
Okay, welcome.
Hello. I just want to know how long you've been singing.
Hello.
I'm nervous, sorry.
Hello.
How long have you been singing?
How long have I been singing? I never had professional voice lessons. I was never in the choir. And as far as I know, I've been singing my whole life. But it was like my mother had a record deal with Capitol, was getting ready to sign with Capitol when she was 20. And she got knocked up.
With you? Yeah.
Me. So I was the oldest. So she stayed home and raised 3 wonderful kids, but sings like a bird. I mean, she's like, I can remember her. So she must have been 23 or 4 because I was still either crawling or just getting up from crawling. But I remember her dusting the house and singing Crazy and Skeeter Davis. Why do the birds go on singing through the house, popping her dust rag, and I think, wow, she could really sing. And then I got older and found out that everybody's mama couldn't sing like my mama, you know what I mean? And it was like, my mother could really sing. So I got that from my mother and my grandmother's side, but it was just always natural. And my daughter's got it too, and it's just passed down.
Yeah, speaking of Crystal, she's got an album coming out in December that you are co-producing. Mm-hmm. What's that process like? Trying to be a dad? Is she like? I mean, can you separate yourself and be a producer instead of being a dad?
Yeah, she's. She came up through it, so she was wandering out on my stage when she was 3 or 4, just coming around. She'd just stand side the stage, and you'd look up, and here she would come, and, oh, God, I didn't look at her for 5 seconds. I wouldn't watch, somebody'd have her over there, my sister or somebody, and they'd not pay attention. She'd just come bolting out in the middle of the stage. So she's been around her whole life. So she's very poised and strong-willed and determined to do what she does. And you know what? I was determined to make it. She's determined to do what she wants to do, win or lose. She don't care. You know what I mean? She's just like, this is my music. It's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a place play it, and I don't care what y'all think. And I was different. I was like, I was trying to feed babies.
Yeah.
I was trying to make a living and take care of my family. And she's just like, I'm just going to do this, what I do. If you like it, fine. If you don't, I don't care what you think.
So she picks her tunes, because if you guys are sitting down together, there's a quarter century between you in age. So she's probably got different tastes in music. So you let her choose what she wants to. But you write for her, too.
Yeah, we wrote and did the album, and then she went off and wrote with some of the best writers. I hooked her up with Bobby Pinson and Craig Wiseman and Rivers Rutherford and Scotty and everybody, right? I told her just go right with everybody. And because you got to learn how.
Right.
You got to learn what makes a hit song, and you got to do that with reps. You can't just wake up one day and say, this is a hit, and I'm going to write it. And so we get the album about done, and she runs off with what's that kid's name? It's Nathan Chapman. He's the new hot flavor of the year here. Mm-hmm. And they go out and do this song, and she comes back and goes, hey, we wrote this hit song. I go, that's good, maybe we'll cut it on the next album. She goes, oh, we cut it last night. Well, who played on it? He did, played everything. Played the drums, played the guitar, played the bass, played the piano, played the steel, played this, played that, sang harmony. It's ready to go. You just got to put it on the album. I go, well, let's see if it's any good. Well, it's her single. That's how good it was. So I'm like, well,
I hope she keeps you around on the payroll for a while.
She really needs me.
Yeah. I was thinking about her when it comes to this next cut off of Drinks After Work, because this is, it's a little bit about being young and because you've had a few songs like this before we knew they were good.
This is a song that I sang, me and Bobby, and he came in with this idea, and he said, you see kids running around every day, somebody at some point looked at the current president and went, there's no way that guy's ever going to be president when he's 5 years old. That was the last thing they thought. Everybody wants to believe that can happen, and in this great country it can. And it's the same thing you look at with anybody that climbs to the top and is very successful. You look at kids and you go, you never know. So you have to be careful what you say and nurturing. My 6th grade teacher would have we had a homeroom class. I don't know how they do it everywhere in the U.S., but we would go to school in the morning, and your first hour would be homeroom, and then you would go to other classes to do math and science, and then you would come back and have maybe one more hour before you got out of school, and that was your homeroom, your second homeroom class. Well, she would, my sixth grade teacher would always. Her name was Miss Hoffman, and she would give you a music day on Friday, and then 2 weeks later she would give you another music day. But in between those, offsetting, she would do creative writing, and that was her minor in college. She had a degree in teaching, and then she had some kind of minor in language, creative language, or writing or something I would never have. And she would make you write fictitious or true stories, something down, and you had an hour to do it. And some guys would do one page and go quietly play in the back of the room.
Yeah.
And the girls would usually write romantic stuff, and they would write 4 or 5 pages. And I'd be over there just going, just filing pages, you know. And she called my mom in, and she said, I've been teaching for 16 years, and this is one thing that I push creative writing, and he's the best 10 or 11-year-old kid that I've ever tutored on creative writing. His mind, his imaginations to write in that is really shows signs of, and my dad was like, yeah, right. My dad, the PTA meeting, you know, you guys need to promote this. And he's like, yeah, right. My son, the writer, he's going to go in the oil field just like me, and he's going to have 3 kids and a wife, and she's going to sit at home in the trailer. That's the way this deal's going. And like, no, you know, and then look what surfaced.
Yeah.
So if you have a mom that's a singer and a dad that's a quipster who had the greatest one-liners ever, like Will Rogers, and you combine that with a God-given creative talent, you get a singer-songwriter that's sitting here today drinking out of a red Solo cup with you. So
there you go. That is how you get a song like Before We Knew They Were Good.
I'm going to tell you a story on my dad. This is how good my dad was. He was in the oil field, and he caught some guys stealing some equipment, and they had him on the witness stand to testify. He said there's only 2 commandments. He said if you don't lie and you don't steal, the other 8 will come into play. There's only 2 commandments, not 10. So if you don't ever lie and you don't ever steal, then the rest of them are going to come into play. You never shoot somebody or cheat on your wife and then come back in and go, yeah, I did it. So lying takes care of most of it, right? So he said 2 of them, if you do the 2, don't lie. And he couldn't stand a liar or a thief. He hated it. Old school. He's on the witness stand, and they take a break, and they're going to send this guy away for 5 years. And Dad's the last to testify for the prosecution. And he's just bound and determined to get up there and tell him the guy stole all his money. He goes, get up there. So he comes out of the courtroom, they take a recess, and the guy hollers over and goes, HK, dude, I don't think I can do 5 years, man. Come on. And Dad goes, well, I don't know what to tell you. Get in there and do what of it you can. So it's like, that's the way he thought. You know? And so that mentality plays right into my songwriting with my mom being a singer. And that's what I'm talking about. You get that wit with that ability to sing, and you're a creative writer. You got combustible. You're like, you're going to blow up Mars.
Yeah. Toby wrote or co-wrote 9 out of the 10 cuts on the album. It's called Drinks After Work. It is out on Tuesday, and this is Before We Knew They Were Good on the highway on Siriusxm.
5 young guns, 404s between us. Never more than a couple of them run at a time. Bowling board, standing in gasoline and making sparks with anything we could find. We love our town, but we were 17ers riding around, giving it the finger. Those days we made last all night. Those girls we thought were just alright. Those kids that town misunderstood. They were great. Before we knew they were good. Sweating in the sun, cause having fun takes money. Paid for a crazy cutting grass. Waiting on the front porch for a little Miss Milk and Honey. Smelling like Marlboros and lawnmower gas. We parked that Galaxy out there where the Milo grew. Two beginners trying to show each other what they knew. Those days we made last all night. Those girls we thought were just alright. Those kids that town misunderstood. They were great. That fall we knew they were caged birds singing, waiting on the wings and learning to fly. Before we knew they were good. One day they're on the ground, and then you turn around, they're on in the sky. Those days we made last all night. Those girls we thought were just alright. Those kids that drowned misunderstood. They were great. Before we knew they were good. Before we knew they were good. They were great.
It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. I'm Buzz in our Siriusxm Music City Theater hanging with Toby. And we got another question from the audience. Patty, did you actually write Roll Tide on this card?
I sure did.
Oh. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll still let you ask a question, Patty.
Hey, Toby.
I didn't believe
Hey, Toby.
My grandparents are from Alabama, so
Yeah.
my grandma and grandpa, great-grandma and grandpa was married in Limestone County, Alabama, and they migrated to Oklahoma during the land run. So I don't get on anybody for pulling for their team.
Not even Stormy if
I'm
he was
still a
here
Sooner.
because he's an Oklahoma State
I
Cowboy.
do get on to Stormy because he gives me so much hell for being a Sooner.
Yeah.
But she just said Roll Tide. That's she's
that's
supporting
all right.
the team, right?
Yeah.
If she said, "Oh, you sucks," then I would tell her.
Well, I
tell
know
her pass
you
the
played
microphone.
football.
She's supporting her.
You played football, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you know how I feel. My question is, I know that you're a great mentor to new artists. Would you ever consider being on The Voice or X Factor or American Idol?
That's a big head shake right there now. You can't hear that or you can't see it on the radio. No?
No.
No. I read that a while ago that you said you didn't have any interest in that.
$10 million.
What do you...
I turned her down.
Really? Said no. What? You can't tell us which show. Well, you will tell
American
us.
Idol.
Okay. And you said no.
Mm-hmm. It took me about 5 minutes.
Yeah?
Because $10 million is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But you take a bucket of water out of the ocean, it don't change the shoreline. What did Forbes say? 500 million?
Yeah.
Forbes cover. So what is that? 10 million into 500 million? That ain't very much money.
No.
And you want me to come over 4 or 5 months and read script on Monday and listen to these yahoos sing Tuesday and figure out, and none of them are probably songwriters.
Right.
And that's all I really care about anyway.
You gotta wear makeup too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sucks, Buzz.
Yeah.
It's a bad deal. It's a bad deal.
You almost didn't want to do the cover of Forbes magazine.
It's a used car deal.
It is. Toby was on the cover of Forbes magazine not just because of his music, but because of the.
And I'm thinking The Voice would probably be $3.5 million, right?
Yeah.
Bad deal.
Bad deal. With the restaurants and the Wild Shot Mezcal and the record label and all
your
the albums.
your time is precious.
Yeah.
And you can't commit to something. They tried to get me to do sitcoms. All the presidents of all the 5 major networks would fly in and say, would talk about me and I Love This Bar and all that stuff was blowing up, and our Q factor was really high, and they were all going, your videos are hilarious and we want to put you on sitcom. But they want you to commit to 5 years, and you got to do like July 31st to February 1st. For 5 years you have to commit. And they don't want to pay you nothing, but if at the end of 5 years, if you're doing really good, then you can get Seinfeld money. And I'm like, okay, now who's second on that list behind Seinfeld? And it's like here, you know. And so this is what we're shooting at. If we do this for 5 years,
right.
I got a night job. No, I'm not doing it. So I stuck to my guns and did my own thing. And sometimes they think that number's big, but when you dissect it and you go, I got to work Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday, you know, read on Monday, rehearse on Tuesday, such and such Wednesday. It's Hollywood, it's TV. It's full 5-day weeks. And people go, yeah, but they were going to give you this much for 4 or 5 months. And I go, you know what I get a night?
Yeah.
Believe me, it's not. It's a bad deal. It's a used car deal.
Why at first did you not want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine?
Because I'm not comfortable with people knowing how much jack you make a year. I work hard. I'm supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
I bust my butt. So, you know, I put an album out. This is my 20th year, and I put an album out every year. Name one other artist did that.
Yeah.
They take off 3 or 4 years, and then, they got a new album coming. It's a big deal. Well, guess what? I put one out every Halloween. Every fall, I got one hitting the store. That's because I write all year, and I work on the spring, get it, and I get my new album out in the fall. I'm going to put my single out in the summer while we're touring, and I go. I bust my butt, so I'm supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what? The harder I work, the freaking luckier I get. You know, really. And that's what's missing from.
Yeah.
That's what's missing from. People go, God, your numbers as a songwriter are phenomenal. How did you get to 82 million spins as a songwriter? No one's even close to that. And I go, because I worked.
Yeah.
I got up and got my lunchbox every day and got it on, man. I didn't pass up the opportunity to work. You can't expect to have those kind of numbers taken 3 or 4 or 5 years off from songwriting and stuff.
You have office hours on the road because Rivers and Scotty and everybody's with you. It's scheduled where you're sitting down and pounding stuff out.
We're pounding all the time. We work. Those numbers are real numbers. That's because we're always delivering and bringing it. We don't, time is precious, and you can either show up and make it happen. I told my daughter, I said, you can go to college, get it done in 4 years, or you can go get it in 6 years, but you're not getting a record deal till you get it done. If I'm in prison, somebody locks me up and says, you got a 5-year prison sentence. But if you wash dishes at 6 o'clock every morning, every 3 days, we'll give you a day off that sentence. I'd be in there washing dishes every freaking day and hoping that I could get out 2 months earlier at the end of that 5 years by getting it a third of a day at a time. Or you can spend 6, 7 years and go to college, get drunk, party, and take it what you want, but you're still not getting your record deal till you're done. So you might as well get it done in 4 years and come sing. And so I looked at I may only have one shot here. So my work ethic from my dad was get up, get your mailbox, get your lunchbox, get your hat on, let's go.
All right, tell us about Drinks After Work, because I know it was at first you were like, I don't know if this is a Toby tune.
Mark Wright, this is crazy because I was in and I got to tell the story on him. He's the only dude in Nashville that I would partner with. I never got along very well with the industry. I never lived here. So I never networked. I don't politic good. You obviously know that I never did the award show thing very well. We didn't get along. I didn't play well with others. So I had one guy that I thought was a real music guy, and he's produced 100 #1 songs. He's written some #1 songs. And I was in a motel when Chuck was still alive, and we were in Dallas, Texas, and country, All City Limits, and the Ralph Emery Show with Shotgun Red would come on. So we would sit and dream in the afternoon, watch those shows and think, man, someday we might actually be there, if we keep doing what we're doing. We're at a bar in Texas thinking that's the big brass ring right there. And Mark Wright is on Austin City Limits with 4 or 5 other songwriters, and he's a young one, and he wrote this song called Nobody falls like a fool, nobody loves like a believer. And I'm sitting there listening, talking, man, that's a great song. Earl Thomas Conley had #1 on it. And I get to town years later and start having some success. I run into him, and he's producing Chestnut and Womack and all these people. He's in charge of MCA, and he's really kicking it. He produces he produced the I Hope You Dance. I mean, he's had some monster songs and written some monster songs. And he brings this song and he says, hey, you need to cut this. and I don't want to step on your toes because I know you write your stuff, but he said, this one's so far out of the box and different that this is one of those that I think could either be a 5-week #1 or it'll fall flat on its face. But either way, it'll leave an impact. He goes, I listen to a lot of songs, and there's nothing that sounds like this song. That's how much different. And I said, you know what? He's my partner. And by the way, I've been on Show Dog. Everybody thought when I opened my own label that I was crazy. Yeah. I've been on Show Dog longer now than I've been on any other label.
How many years?
8 years.
8 years.
That's longer than I've been on any label in this stinking town. I was on Mercury, Polydor, A&M, back to Mercury, and DreamWorks. Had a great run with DreamWorks. We sold 25 million albums or something. Great staff. Of course, I took them all with me when I left. But that same staff went over and they said, how do you think you can open your own label? I go, well, look at the knuckleheads running them. I can do it if they can do it, right? Yeah. So we tried it, and 8 years later, we're still here and getting it. But Mark Wright's my partner, and he's the reason that we did this song.
All right.
Can you play it?
Yeah, I can absolutely play it. It's a title track.
They've already heard it.
They've heard it a million times on the highway on Siriusxm, but how about a whole bunch more? We'll just keep spinning it. How about that?
Let's go.
It's a title track to Drinks After Work, which is available on Tuesday. It's our Toby Keith, the Drinks After Work album premiere party.
Say to prove that we should go out for a laugh or two instead of going home tonight. Been a long day, no break. We made it to the middle of the week, and I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna need to get to know you casually, just having fun, 2 for 1. Watch a good time get a little better. Ain't no ball and chain for the suits and skirts. It's just drinks after work. What's it gonna hurt? Have a little drink after work. Happy hours like a holiday. Hanging with you is like getting away. Let's conversate for a little while. Well, keep me company, catch me up. It's a whole lot better than being stuck in the drive time 9 to 5. I'd rather see you smile. Long day, no break. We made it to the middle of the week, and I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna need to get to know you casually, just having fun, 2 for 1. Watch a good time get a little better. Ain't no ball and chain for the suits and skirts. Just drinks after work. Drinks after work. Tell me what's it gonna hurt? After work. Been a long day and the boss don't get it. Don't you wanna take the edge off with some 7 and 7? Just crushing on a friend. Tell me what's it gonna hurt? Sipping and tipping some drinks after work. Long day, no break. We made it to the middle of the week, and I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna need to get to know you casually, just having fun, 2 for 1. Watch a good time get a little better. Ain't no ball and chain for the suits and skirts. Just drinks after work. Drinks after work. Tell me what's it gonna hurt? Have a little drink after work. Long day, no break.
It's Buzz in our Siriusxm Music City Theater. It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party. The Hammer Down tour is over, but you're going to take it down under.
Yeah, so it's now hammered down under.
Yeah. Have you ever performed in Australia?
No, they asked me about a year ago. They said, "What do you know about Australia?" And I said, "Keith Urban and kangaroos." What's so funny about that?
That's pretty much what I think about
That's
too.
all
when
I
you
know.
say that.
I mean, Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And that crocodile guy.
But you've done a lot of shows in Europe, and you go over pretty well. I mean, they love Toby Keith in Europe, so I think they're even bigger country music fans in Australia.
I would say so. Doing the interviews and stuff now, setting up the shows, they have a certain amount of time window where they have all their festivals. Mm-hmm. And doing the pre-interviews and stuff with them, they're jumping up and down. It could be really, really big. I don't know. I've never been, but I expect it to be as close to an extension of the United States as I think I've ever seen. I really, they have a lot of the same values and the same characteristics as we do. So I really think, and being in the horse business like I am, racehorse business, down in that part of the country, Australia, New Zealand, all those, they all have tremendous love for the racehorse. So it's, I really feel like I'm gonna be at home when I get there.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of overseas, I got a Twitter question from Liz that I wanted to read to you.
Who's Liz?
Liz is one of our Highway listeners. At SXM The Highway, or on Facebook.com/on-the-highway.
Where's Liz from? You said
she didn't say where she's from. Twitter, you don't normally put where you're from.
Oh, you don't? I thought you said this was speaking of overseas.
Well, this is why. If you listen for 1 second, okay?
I won't.
Liz says, okay, look at me when I'm talking to you. Liz says, thanks for all you do for the troops. Is there any place you want the USO to send you that you haven't been? Because 11 USO tours, 200 shows.
It's very serious. I know we're having fun doing it, but it's very serious to me that we're so blessed to be born in this country, because if you've been all over the world, and that 200 shows allows me to say that I've been all over the world, you know what I mean? So you have no idea what second place looks like. Everything is second best to getting to live here. And having these military heroes for 200 years, not just recently, and not just active today. Mm-hmm. The military that has made this country free for us is the most important asset we have. And without that, our Statue of Liberty means nothing. The Declaration of Independence means nothing. The Constitution means nothing. It's just paper and statues. The reason that we have that is because these people are willing to get up every day and go to work and do their job and allow us to get up and live in Disneyland every day. And it's an amazing group of people that you see that keeps me going back for 2 weeks every year. And it will continue to happen as long as this country is a country. If we ever give that up, if we ever take away that military, this country will no longer be a country, period.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Drinks After Work comes out on Tuesday, and the last cut I want to play today kind of feeds into that. So it's one of the bonus cuts. It's got 10 cuts on it, but you can pick up a bonus version of Drinks After Work at Walmart with 3 extra cuts, and one of those is Call a Marine, a song that you wrote.
Yeah, I've written a lot of songs. I found out the first couple of years when we went on my USO tour. I went the first time my dad said, son, go do a USO tour. Bob Hope used to do it when I was over there. This and that, you got to go. And I was like, Dad, I'm trying to put diapers on babies and feed kids and get my career going. And he was always riding me. Well, then he got killed in 2001 in a car wreck. I was like, shoot, man, I'm going to go honor my dad. Well, then 911 happened. I said, perfect. I'm going. So I started going and thought I'd do my 2 weeks, mail it in and be done. USO came in. I saw the need. I saw the void. I felt the calling. I said, you know what? If no one else will go, I'll go, and I'll start bringing people with me. I'll start shaming people into going. You should be ashamed to live in this country and be an entertainer and make 7-8 figures and not go at least visit a hospital where a wounded warrior's coming home. You know, don't go to the war zone with us. We get a high off of going to Fallujah 3 days after it's been captured. You know, I want to shoot the weapons. You know what I mean? I want to blow shit up. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm your guy. I want to fly in on a Black Hawk, and I want to land and play for 25 guys on the tongue of a big artillery weapon. You know, I want to shoot you 50 cal. I'll be here and play 3 shows a day for 25 guys at a time. I don't care. You know, for 2 weeks, but I know I get to go home in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that tough-ass soldier or that Marine's got to stay there. So I started writing these little songs after the second or third year. They like I Love This Bar, but if you're a country fan, you love all that stuff. But what if you're a hip-hop guy? What if you're a black dude from Brooklyn? What if you're a rock and roll dude from Jersey? You know, what if you're a Northern California surfer that's joined the Army to pay his bills, and all of a sudden they got you stuck in freaking hell in Kandahar? You may not even know who I am. You may not even get country radio where you're from. So I started writing these Ballad of Ballad, American Soldier. We started writing these little songs. This like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to play the hits, but I'm also play some stuff that I wrote just for you guys. So I want to see you smile before we go out of here, because you got to go back and see the devil tomorrow. I don't. But I want you to smile while you're with me. So it's more about bringing happiness to their life for a day and letting them know that we appreciate the fact that they are there. And so I started writing these little songs. I never had one for the Marines. And my idea of doing it is, if you'll always talk about how tough they are, how good a job they do, and how much fun they make of each other when they... Owen, I wish you wasn't here. I would so tell this story, little man. How old are you, Owen? See, I got a 10-year-old here, so I'm trying to clean this up.
Okay.
But as long as they know you respect them, you appreciate the job they're doing, and we're all laughing together, that's been the secret recipe for success on these songs. And Call Marine is like the 10th version of these little songs. I haven't recorded them all, but you can look up Ballad of Ballad. And they love Weed with Willie. By the way, that's universal. No matter what music you listen to, they love Weed with Willie. And there's another song.
The surfer, the country, they all like that one.
And there's another song about going big early that's called Run and Block that is their favorite. Giving the Taliban the finger was always a favorite military. So I learned early on that I didn't have to have hit songs on the radio. I just had to be famous and show up and sing stuff that they liked here. So this is an extension of that, and I never had one for the Marines, and this is called Call a Marine.
It's on Drinks After Work, which comes out on Tuesday. There is a bonus edition that you can get 3 extra cuts, and that's where you'll find this one. It's Toby Keith on the highway on Siriusxm. Call a Marine.
Sitting in a bar, boozing, losing. Some jack-off walks up, cruising for a bruising, popping off and making my old redneck red. He asked my girl she'd like to dance. He had 3 buddies, so I had no chance. I looked around the room for a friend, and I saw Fred. A quick evaluation of the situation, we entered into a conversation that seemed to last the better part of the next 2 songs. Now, I didn't say, and they didn't ask, but Fred did 2 tours over in Iraq, and son, it was over before it was even on. Call a Marine instead of 911. They're built to improvise, adapt, and overcome. When you're in knee deep and you're up Shit's Creek, you've tried everything. Tell you what you do. Call a Marine. My sister's husband didn't love her no more, and he runned off with a skinny little whore and left her sitting around the house with a couple of kids. She just lays around in that moo-moo gown old girl put on about 35 pounds, and one day I went over to her house and I said, hey sis, if you want to fix what troubles you, just ease down the VFW and you'll walk through the door and turn those boys' heads. For most of those boys, it's been a while. Just show a little leg and that Marlboro smile. And if that don't work out for you, girl, ask for Fred. Call a Marine instead of 911. They're built to improvise, adapt, and overcome. If you're in knee deep and you're up Schitt's Creek, you've tried everything. Tell you what you do, call him a rave. Some douchebag rises up and overthrows his government. Diplomacy ain't working and ammo's all been spent. The world is in a crisis and the media's a curse. I'll tell you what to do when it goes from bad to worse. Call a Marine instead of 911. They're built to improvise, adapt, and overcome. When you're in knee deep and you're up Schitt's Creek, you've tried everything. Tell you what you do, call a Marine. Tell you what to do, baby. You can call a Marine.
It's our Toby Keith Drinks After Work album premiere party on the highway on Siriusxm. My name's Buzz Brainerd. We're in our Siriusxm Music City Theater. So we have finished off a half a bottle of whiskey, and we have played a bunch of cuts off of Drinks After Work, which comes out on Tuesday. We've talked about Toby painting landscapes. Is there anything else? I think we covered it all, right?
Yeah, other than, let's see, my root canal. No, I skipped CMAs for that last year.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Drinks After Work comes out on Tuesday. Toby Keith on the highway on Siriusxm.
Buzz Lightyear, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for listening to the Highway's exclusive Drinks After Work album premiere party
On Siriusxm.